Now it's time to be dangerous. Now it's time to get risky. Now it's time to truly find out what you're made of and what you could achieve. Now it's time to truly find out how many lives you can impact. Now it's time to find out what you were destined to become.
Welcome to Raw Minds, everybody. I'm your host, Eric. And just a quick ask. If this episode hits you, share it, leave a comment, follow, do all those beautiful things because, someone may need to hear this. So share it with someone that, will help them. Real quick, a close friend of mine is on life support right now, and he needs to get to the States for some treatment. The doctors over there said that they could save him, but the doctors in Canada here right now are trying to pull the plug on him because they say that there's no brain movement or function. But a doctor in the States says that they can do something. So the family's fighting the government and they made a GoFundMe. It will be in my description. So anything that you can give helps to get him the care that he needs. He does have 6 kids. It's really sad. He's been on life support for, I think now almost just over 3 weeks. So it's really sad. So yeah, so the GoFundMe is in the description. So if you guys can, I'd appreciate that. Anything helps. And today's guest, I found him on TikTok. His name's Ed, and he's from the UK. He's the eldest of 5, left home at 14, and even lived on the streets for a while. He got pulled into the street life, got arrested as a teen, and just 2 years ago, he's still dealing with drugs, arrest, and the fallout. He had unalived himself attempts, because we're live right now. I almost got in trouble there. In the last 2 years, and the last one was in January of 2025. He's been in recovery since April 2025, and in June 2025, he started talking about men's mental health full time. Now his work has blown up, millions of streams, and pushing for the change in the UK mental health services. What I respect about Ed is he's taken everything he's been through, pain, mistakes, near death, and turned into a mission to change the way men get help. He's building a platform for a safe space and real support so men don't have to fight alone. And this is what we do on Raw Minds. So it's beautiful, 2 of us coming together, and he's across the pond. So it's amazing. So other than that, let's welcome Ed in. And I just want to say thank you for being here, brother. Thank you, Ed.
I appreciate it, bro. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. Exciting. I was scrolling through TikTok, came across you, man. And I feel like, it's like we're brothers on the other 100%. Side of the opposite side of the earth, man.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. There's very, very close similarities in story throughout our lives. So yeah, definitely I appreciate it.
Definitely, man. You want to just tell people where they can find you, plug yourself a little bit here first so people can get at you?
To be honest with you, my main platform is TikTok. Obviously, I've only just started streaming as a content creator since June. I went onto TikTok, with a mission. I woke up in June, decided I was going to do men's mental health. Funny enough, it had to be Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, that month that I started. And I was streaming for a couple of weeks on my own, just trying to get the word out there. Very, very little. I joined an agency, obviously, whilst I was on TikTok, which also helped me to support my life, gave me a manager, gave me a little bit of an insight as to what I do on TikTok. So I've got nothing but love for the agency owner, which
do you want to plug them as well?
Yeah, no, big up Chaz, Notorious Agency. So big them up massively. Like I said, they brought me on. My manager Kat, she brought me on and kind of helped me, because obviously what I talk about is kind of like, yourself. It's a very kind of touchy subject, especially when we talk about unliving. So, we call it bananas, but I was getting restricted on there quite often. So again, like I said, it was nice to have an agency that was able to help me lift those restrictions, get me back on the platform and carry on with my journey, and which kind of ultimately led me to then start a petition. Again, the whole petition thing, like I feel like with you, the same as you, Eric, I feel it's destiny, because did I wake up and sit down and research a plan for the UK? No, I didn't. So it's really nice to be able to come up with a plan, which I've come up overnight, people. This wasn't something I didn't even dream about it. I woke up, I was live one day, and I had a professional in there asking me some questions. How was I going to propose the plan? Who was going to pay for it, i.e. the government, so on and so forth. So again, I answered all the questions. The plan that I have, I do believe it's one of the cheapest bills for the UK for a national, I would say, crisis. I'm living across the world. The numbers are massively high. We're losing people to unliving themselves every 90 minutes here in the UK, and the mental health services around it as well, Eric. I don't know what it's like over in Canada and America and so forth, but over here there are long waits. To be seen. And the problem is with this is, one day is too long for somebody that has got mental health or is struggling, and potentially looking to unlive themselves. And we're going to put them on a waiting list of 9 months plus in some cases. So I find that very hard because, again, for the country, these are people and generations. Like the smallest group that we're losing people is between 10 and 24. So these are men that haven't even lived their life, so
still kids, man.
Yeah, 100%. So how have we got a system and a structure in place that's not there to support them, or they feel that they're not there? This is another thing, the awareness around living and mental health here isn't what it should be, and my mission now is to set up a stream, which is kind of coming along now. We've got over 3 million streaming likes. We've hit thousands of people. Appreciate it, buddy. We've hit thousands of people, and we're moving up and up and up. Like I said, the only platform I'm actually using at the moment is TikTok. I'm not one to be able to multitask. So like yourself, having all these platforms
it's hard, bro. It's hard, man. It's hard. I'm a one-man army too, so it's hard.
This is the same, and I can't multitask as well. So it makes it a little bit harder for me. But yeah, eventually we will be on the other platforms as well.
Awesome, man. Well, if you ever need some help, you got me, brother. So
yeah, no, 100%. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. I mean, I got so much on the go. It's hard to juggle everything right at the same time, man, but I mean, this is what we got to do because it's important. We have to do these things. 100%. You know what I mean?
Dude, when I started it, right, I started it with aiming for 2 shows a week. Okay. So on a Wednesday and a Sunday, kind of midweek and end of week, kind of 2 times that people are going to kind of feel low because they start off the week and then kind of go down, and then, or in some cases you can go down, and then again in the end of the week, when we then got to then look to the next week, it's like Christ. So I thought I'd do 2 shows and that would be me, and now it turned into a 7-day thing, So look, listen, I don't dislike it. I fully love that, because like I said, the whole point of it now is to get to people and raise the awareness, a daily awareness. Like on the stream, I've got a show tomorrow at 7 p.m. our time. So if you are around, buddy, do join in. Where we've got a national founder of a charity all around male unliving prevention. And we've also got a couple of mental health nurses training. Well, one's a trainee in the UK that is serving, and the other lady is just serving the NHS as well. Now, again, the reason for that is to bring these professionals to the platform and have people outside that don't necessarily want to talk, right? Because we sit there and say about men don't talk out. Yeah, the stigma around men and so on and so forth. So I want to create a platform where there are professionals there for people to ask questions, find out about support and information. And they don't necessarily have to show their face. That's the other thing, until they feel comfortable. The whole point is to create a safe space for men all around the world. And we've got listeners as far as Australia. We've got people in America, Canada, the UK, So we're branching out, right? And like I said, I just want there to be a safe space for people to be able to ask questions and not feel like they're being scrutinized because they're a man. I say all the time, men and women, we bleed the same and we still have emotions, right? So why does it make it different for a man? Why does a man have to not be able to speak out or feel that? And again, we talk about the stigma. So that's why I believe that is. And obviously with the platform, we're going to try and break that down. Yeah.
I love it, man. I love it. I just want to say this too. The last time that we talked, I said, 54 countries I was in?
Yeah.
58 now. So I just want to say thank you, everybody. And like all these 58 countries. I mean, thank you for listening. 100%. I see you. I check it every day, and I see all of you guys. I appreciate everybody that listens in. This is what we do. We want to help everybody,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, we need a village. It takes a lot of people to come
100%.
together, man. You know what I mean? I'm trying to
100%.
make one over here in Vancouver. You got one in UK. I met other people in the UK that's got it. I was in
Yeah.
a Q&A actually yesterday in South Africa. I mean, it's just amazing, you know, like amazing. Just the people that we're meeting, you know, like you, I
100%.
met you, you met people. It's just amazing, right? It's
Yeah,
beautiful,
definitely.
and the world needs it. The world needs it, especially right now. The
Yeah.
world needs it. You know,
Yeah, no, definitely.
it's tough times, man.
Like I said, when we crossed paths, Eric, it was like you came into that live. I'll never forget it that day, you know, and you was straight on the mission of men's mental health. And to be fair, up until that point, I hadn't even seen anybody else on the platform that was really doing. I'm not saying there wasn't people out there, but I certainly wasn't coming up on my feeds or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, since I've been doing it, I see a lot more. I see a lot more men now on the platform talking about men's mental health as a whole, and I'm all over it, you know, because like I said, I don't think there's enough awareness. These are, like I said, these are generations to come.
Mm-hmm.
And if we carry on the way we are, certainly here in the UK, you know, I don't see what's see with mental health. Mental health to me is as important as physical health. But yet the two, would you say the two are being supported the same here in the UK? Probably not. You know,
No.
I don't see it being supported, you know, as much as the physical side of things. So again, like I said, if we can make awareness and talk about it, and a platform where people can even listen in, you know, my end goal is to have a room full of professionals, doctors, psychiatric nurses, mental health nurses, charities, you know, and
You're
so on
gonna
and
have a
so
life
forth.
coach pretty soon, brother.
And do you know what? I was just going to get onto that point as well, and a life coach as well. And again, Eric, I believe truly, mate, are like it's destined to be for you. The whole, again, I've heard your story. I'm reading your story. I've listened to your story, in your music and your, you know, and it's touching to say the least, bro. That's why I say it's something that I can relate to you, like you're next to me. Well, you are like now, you know, but I feel like you're here. So, and that's a nice feeling. You don't normally get that with most people, you know, like you only find that with a few people in life that you feel really connected to, and certainly you're one of
Yeah.
them. That's why I say our two paths cross on the same mission and the end goal. So yeah, it's nice to know, bud. So yeah, again, with you and the life coach, I need to hear
Yeah.
more about that as well. To be fair,
Yeah. So I took this test. I have a guest coming on. He's
okay,
a rabbi,
yeah,
and I won't go into it because I'm going to leave that for the episode. But
yeah,
something major happened to his life, changed everything, and then he found this test. It's called Purpose, and I
okay,
took it, and I invested in myself. I was like, I got to spend some money, take this test, and invest in myself. And
yeah,
I, I, I mean, I think everybody should do it. You know, everybody should do it. I'm going to hopefully I have a meeting with him next week, and I'm going to hopefully be able to facilitate this test eventually, and I'm
okay,
going to incorporate it with my life coach program. So
brilliant,
I took this test, man, and it was amazing, like what it was telling me, and it blew me
yeah,
away. And after I read it, I was like, I want to be a life coach. You know, I want
brilliant,
like, and I've been trying to find what I want to do. You know, like I left
yeah,
construction. I want to find what I want to do. I want to help people fill my bucket, and I found it, man. And I'm gonna be calling it the legacy method. And I'm gonna start. I want to do because I want to get my feet off the ground. So I'm going to do
yeah,
a free session for someone, maybe like a 3 week or 4 week free session, you
yeah,
know, and run them through a program. And then hopefully I can, you know, get some reviews back, and then
love that,
hopefully go on from there. So if you do want a session, a program session, you know, it's,
I'm
and
all up
you're
for it,
willing to
buddy.
support me, or
100%, mate. You know
anybody,
that.
shoot me an email, and anybody, yeah, shoot me an email, and I would love to try to help in any sense way. And if you guys could leave me a review after, that would be great, so I can start this beautiful journey. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no, I
This
appreciate
is
that.
what I want to do and help people. You know, and then I want to build like a team. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? A team of like life coaches, but I want to do it different. I'm raw. You know, I'll tell you how it
I
is,
love
man.
that.
I will
I love that.
tell you how it is. You know, and I don't want to sugarcoat this shit, right? And I want to make it a little bit different. You know, I want to make it
Yeah.
a little bit different, and just be on the level, right? And hold space for someone, man, and help them. You know, so that's
Do
my
you know
goal.
what
That's
we
what I'm
use
doing
say that?
for.
Do you know when you say that about your raw, again, Eric, I don't know if it's just because things are meant to be, and like I said about me and you, dude, but that's one thing that I do with my show. So on my stream, I'm going down avenues to try and, so like I'm doing a skydive for charity, everything
Yes,
that
we
I
talked
do
about that.
on TikTok, I give to charity. And I believe I'm the only that is doing that actually on a platform. I've put it out there. I've said it for the last 12 weeks until my last restriction. And then I've been very careful. But again, I give it all away. And because it's not about that to me, like in a year time or 2 years time, when the time's right, I will get paid for it. Right. I didn't start this for any kind of
Yeah.
income benefit, but like you say, one of the things that I'm doing on my show is a thing called BFT. Sorry, PFT. My apologies. Which is tricks to finds talent. Bit like your, what?
Oh, this is
And
what you're telling me. I think it's a great idea, man.
yeah, man. And again, I'm in talks with some big names, Ariel, Max Factor, some of the big FA, Wembley, Chelsea Football Club, Arsenal, Brentford, and I'm trying to get some support from them to be able to give to the winner, right? Because again, everything I do is solely for that. So I don't want to. I can't give them anything, but certainly with the help of these big companies, we can, and for the cause, right? Everything is going to help others. So, and some of these are really big companies that do a lot of work in charity, and we seem to be getting somewhere. But the whole point of as to why I got on about that is what you said about being raw. It's the same with me with the talent show. I could put people up really and truly that can't sing, that can't dance, that can't do this, and can't do that, and we could all sit there laughing at them, right? Like you do on the TV. But why do I want to do that? Because in my, especially with the internet is a horrible, can be a horrible place, right? There are a lot of trolls out there. So I put somebody up, they start getting trolled, and they then go and unlive themselves. Yeah. And it happened with my next door neighbor's daughter, who's only 15 because of the internet. So I can't do it. I won't do it. And I'm not sure. I've told people, if you have not got a kind of certain level of kind of singing or rapping or dancing, whatever it may be, magician, then I'm not going to put them up, because I don't want that to be a case where people could potentially end up doing that on the back of us, because then that's against what I'm trying to set out to help,
Almost like bullying.
Exactly.
You mean, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And then somebody could potentially unlive themselves, which is what we're trying to help. So I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I tell people how it is, because again, what do they get out? What do I get out of it by telling you something just that you want to hear? Nothing,
Yeah.
So, but I could get more out of it if I tell you the truth. It might hurt, but it was the truth. It was only through my vision and my opinion. You don't have to take what I say as gospel or anything like that, but it's certainly my opinion, and I guess I'm allowed to give you that for your own benefit.
Yep. So I do want to get into a little bit of your journey here, if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course.
Excuse me. Can you start by telling us a little bit about yourself, like your journey and what made you start, speaking up, like what kind of, like where it kind of started, if you don't mind?
Yeah, of course. All right. Well, I'll start back. If we're going to start about my journey, obviously, I kind of told you, look, I was no different to a lot of kids in the UK. Like I come from a kind of lower class background, like I was the one that would have a different top to everyone else in the school, like for the pictures, or I didn't go on this, and I had hand-me-downs, nothing wrong with that. But that was kind of, my mum was a single mum at the time of 3. And then later in years, I become the eldest of 5. But certainly when I was growing up, it was tough, and yeah, my mum had it hard. And so up until the age of 14, as I told you before, obviously I did live at home. I was a boxer. My mum, I was pretty skilled at boxing, schoolboy champion, so on and so forth. And my mum was really proud of me, because she always used to do horse riding and stuff, and she never came first. Yeah. So when I used to do my races and stuff like that, I was short, quick, and I won stuff and won in boxing. It made her proud. Like I said, my mum I was growing up with a single parent mum. My dad wasn't around. My dad left me when I was 2 weeks old. So I never had my dad around. And I guess when I had my children, one thing that I do look back at is my dad had the opportunity when I was about 6, right, to engage, because I was led to believe my granddad, because I was born in 1982. So again, the 80s were pretty hard. And my granddad was pretty hard, as far as I'm aware, on my dad, to go out there. And within 2 weeks, obviously he folded and broke and he left, right? So later on in life, obviously my granddad was my father figure, and yeah, so he was there for me. But my dad certainly had an opportunity when I was about 6 to see me. I went to see his mum, and the whole arrangement was to see him. And I was upstairs. I'll never forget. Obviously, it's just probably one of the only things I did kind of remember is I was in the room waiting for him to come round. He came round. The door went. I stayed upstairs, and I waited and waited and waited, and the door went again, probably about an hour later. And when I looked out the window, it was my dad. And he was walking and he looked up and he see me and I looked at him and I waved at him, and yeah, he went on his journey, and it was kind of hard as a 6-year-old lad to understand what did I do wrong. I never spoke to the man, so I never got any questions. I know I have a brother, funny enough, it's a year younger than me, never met the boy, but I do have a brother out there somewhere as well. So yeah, that's it. That was a little bit hard to take on as a child. And I think that's when my granddad stepped in. My granddad took over the father role for me, become my father figure. And kind of, he was the one that got me into boxing, look after myself, and so on and so forth. So yeah, like I said, when I was winning, my mum loved it. And then obviously as we start to grow up, get to the age of like 14, I become a teen, right? A teen boy as well, not even a girl, a teen boy. I started to then meet girls and stuff because I was very sports orientated up until that kind of point. And then I met girls and what's this, and kind of went off track a little bit. And yeah, at the age of 14, I left home. Dispute with my mum. Like I said, I was a child. I was, just not listening. We know best, right? So I left and become homeless. I was living homeless for a while as well.
How was that on your mental health?
Yeah, it was all. I say it was all right. Do you know what? If I'm brutally honest with you, I couldn't tell you what it was like with my mental health, because when I left, it sounds so weird, right? But when I left, I was living in a van on an estate. Yeah, in fact, it was my mum's old van, and I was living in the back of the van, so I knew friends and that from the estate. Yeah, and they used to look out for me, so they fed me, they washed my clothes and stuff. And I was only young, so I used to do a paper round and do a bit of work in the back of the news agents, and earn, started earning myself my own money at that age. So yeah, like that's where things obviously went different for me, because again, like I said, I was getting involved with girls and then started getting involved a year later with drugs and so on and so forth. Yeah, and it kind of all went all over the place.
Did you find that I would personally think that you were probably in fight or flight mode at this point in time, right?
Yeah,
And
probably.
yeah, right, fight or flight mode, and you probably didn't even get to be able to feel all these feelings and all this that you're going through because your body was just survive pretty much, right?
100%.
Did,
And like
did
I
it
said,
did
go,
it like
sorry.
affect, like I would think maybe after you started healing yourself, working on yourself, I think maybe more of those emotions more came in. I would have, because you had a because you're slowly getting out of that fight or flight mode, so you're
Yeah.
kind of opening up, right, and letting these emotions pour out. Did you
Yeah, of
find
course.
that was the course?
To be honest, again, I don't know if that was the case. Like I said, I
Okay.
certainly look. The way I see it is, I was homeless, but I had friends and family that were there in the estate I was living in. Um, so I didn't feel like I was necessarily alone, because
Okay.
these were friends and family that was living with, like I'd grown up on the estate with, so I knew them. So it just felt like I'd gone from living at home to now living on my own. All right, admittedly in a van, but even the van, I wasn't looking at how was I going to wash, how was I going to, I didn't see all of that. I was only 14. I was a young boy. Most boys at them kind of ages, they're still scruffy little necks anyway. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I moved in with a family on the estate, with a girl who then later became my girlfriend of 10 years. And her mum and dad took me in. So again, I started kind of feel like a family unit again, because obviously mine had gone. Yeah, and it kind of went from there, till I left. And I left her when I was 23, actually. So 9 years after I'd gone, I'd left my 23 is when I left her, and that's when I then the year later. Well, it wasn't even a year later. It was 4 months later. I found my next partner, my baby mother, who at the time wasn't what I wasn't looking for it. She was a friend of the family, and we kind of just crossed paths at my house, and it went from there. So I went from a 10-year relationship. 4 months in, she got pregnant, literally, like as I've left one relationship, and then I went into that relationship for 18 years and had 5 children. And yeah, and obviously, the end of that is when kind of this whole kind of the different side of me kind of arose, and this mission that I set out on was because of that.
Would you say that was the moment that pushed you to start doing TikTok lives and like your whole mental health and everything?
100%. Look,
how did you be like, I'm gonna go TikTok live? Like, how did you do? Like, because my
right.
story,
So no,
I met
okay,
Joey
sorry.
and he forced me to do it. He's like, no, you got to get on TikTok. It's huge. And I was like, I don't
Okay.
know, man. It's like I'm going to say straight up. I'm like, it's for the kids, right? I thought it was just for the
Yeah,
kids when it first, you know what I
100%.
mean? But then he's like, no, you got to do it. You got to do it. And now here I am, man. And I appreciate him pushing me to be on TikTok because I met all these beautiful people. There's
Yeah.
people in our chat, just beautiful people. I appreciate all of you guys. We see you guys, and it's amazing platform. So like, what was your like big?
Okay. So after 18 years of being with my ex-partner, my baby mother, unfortunately, she didn't want to be with me no more. So it wasn't. Oh, sorry. I do apologize. Let me bring you back. So it wasn't a choice of mine, right? So, like I said, my dad wasn't around. So when I had my first child in 2007, and again, we will talk a little bit about my life so you'll understand. But when I had my first daughter, I was worried, right? Because of what had happened in my life and what I had done. And like they say, karma comes back to bite you, right? So I was worried about that when my daughter was born, and for the first year and a half, maybe, I didn't go out with her because I was too worried that something may happen to me. And then, but what about my daughter, right? Because she'd be left there with, and because of my situation with my dad, I stood ground and said, I will never leave my kids, and I will give my kids that family home, like that mum and dad. Yeah. And we've done that for 18 years. And then of course things happen, in life, and see, me and her went separate ways. Like I said, no choice of my own. But I had to get on with it. Now, again, guys, I don't know what you people have gone through, but in my case, giving up the loving somebody, yeah, when you don't want to and you don't know how to, is so hard, yeah. And I had to. The only way I can describe it is loving somebody. When we mourn somebody when they pass
Oh,
away.
I know.
Yeah,
Trust me, man.
exactly my point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I just want to say for the chat here, just so everybody knows, so they know. So for everybody that's new here, Raw Minds was made 2 years ago because my fiance actually passed away on Father's Day. So, and that's how Raw Minds was made. And so I just want to, so they know, like whoever's listening, right? New people
no, of course,
about the relay. So I totally understand, and it's hard, trying to
100%.
to mourn, and it doesn't matter if they're alive or they're dead, or if it's your work or friend or dog or even your favorite toy or your computer or whatever, right? It's still grief. It's still grief in a sense, just different levels. But so I totally understand, man. Sorry to cut you off. I got a little visitor here too, so they want to say hi.
Brilliant. I'm waiting for Rocco to come.
Just a little one.
I love him. Is it a girl or boy?
The boy. I got 2 twins, and then I got my dog too. So
love that. Love you. Right. So again, the whole TikTok thing started because, like I said, I didn't know how to mourn, because that's what I was doing for somebody that was still living here. Yeah, this was the problem. It was the fact that she was here, alive and kicking, and I just couldn't accept, she didn't want to be with me. Again, I do believe now, that I did play a part in that. Of course I did, because of my life and what I went through and so on and so forth. So that played a big factor in it. It wasn't the whole factor, but it was certainly a big factor of it. So now do I blame her necessarily? No, I don't. But certainly, like I said, at the time, I couldn't deal with it. My daughter is also a TikTok. She's kind of like a TikTok little star. She's up and coming, doing her thing.
Good for her.
And yeah, definitely. And so I was looking at her on this again. I looked at the app as a children app. So I wasn't even looking at content. And then after a few months of obviously me and her not like breaking up, we broke up in January. Like you touched on about the unliving, all right? So the first initial time she broke up with me was in September last year. Okay. Again, that was the first time I tried to unlive myself. And God bless it, it didn't work. So
Thank
she
God.
got back with me. Thank you. She got back with me and we carried on. But it was, again, we had broken up many times. But for me, it was the first time I really thought, whoa, I'm actually going to lose her and the children here. Yeah. And one of her reasons was drugs. Yeah, I'm not gonna deny that. I was on years of substances, class A substances for years, up until, like I said, April this year, just before I started what I was doing and found a mission and a goal and something that kept me preoccupied and away from what I've always known. That's why I say with mental health, yeah, I've had I'm not the only one out there that's had a hard life, but certainly I've had a hard life. And within that time, obviously one of my runaway go-tos was drugs, because it numbed the pain, and and this is why with what I do now in the UK and wanting to try and house all mental health services in one house, I also want to put in there drug and alcohol misuse, because I think it's paramount that it's in there. People need, because not every guys, listen, mental health is a wide range of things, right? So it doesn't matter if it's bereavement, financials, trauma, drugs play a big part in the way you think. And in January, when I tried to unlive myself, when I tried to unlive myself in January, again, I was in a drug psychosis. I wasn't in the right frame of mind, and that's why I feel it's a big thing. It needs to be in there, because it's part of mental health,
And that's bad. Like psychosis is like some serious stuff. Like my buddy, he had major psychosis. Like he's clean now, thank God. He's doing his own. He's on YouTube and he does kind of like what we do, right? But on YouTube. And I'll tell you a situation. So for people that don't know psychosis, it pretty much like just it makes up something in your mind that's not really true. I'm trying to say it the easiest possible way so people could understand. And for a situation, I'll tell you. So we were chilling at my house one time. And this when I was partying, and we were getting into all the bad stuff.
Yep.
And I asked him if I could use his computer to put some music on because it was hooked up to my stereo. And he's like, "Why, man?" And I'm like, "Just to put music?" And he's like, No. He told me days after that he thought I was going to take his computer and put child on there.
Yep.
Yeah. And then call the police and then tell them that he's got that on there.
Yep.
So like, that's what I just want to explain for you guys that don't know psychosis. Like that's a situation that I was in when someone was in psychosis. So it really messes, and it's
100%.
horrible.
It is
100%. So I just wanted to touch that so people can understand.
Yeah, no, and again, like I said, so I wasn't in the frame of mind, and that's kind of what led me into the mental health services, right? Somebody made a call for me. Of course, I'm a man. I'm not going to speak to no one. This is my whole point. I didn't want to speak to no one. Somebody made a call for me. The NHS here in the UK, the National Health Service, they rang me on my phone, and I spoke to a lady for about an hour and a half, and it was nice to actually hear somebody talk to me, especially when you're in that situation. The second time I was laying on a railway track next to, I don't even know how the police never were not called. I must have had about 50 trains go past me. I was near an underground line. So how was I not seeing? Like, even though I wasn't looking for that, the only way I can describe this to you guys is like I said, I wasn't in the right frame of mind. So my life was flicking before me. Yeah, like a Polaroid pictures, I was flicking me and my kids, like all the good times, just remembering all the good times, before I go. So to get that call, and I've said this earlier on the show, when you're in that situation, just having that phone call, right, and breaking that thought process, and that's what she done. She broke the thought process. I was on the phone to her for an hour and a half. Then because I was sat up and I was on the phone, I was in panicking because of being seen. Because again, before that, I was laying down in my own life, just flicking before me. I didn't care. And of course, the phone rings, I don't even know how, but I picked it up, and it was a private number. I think it was because probably subliminally, me and the ex partner had finished, so we were on private number calling. We blocked each other, right? So I think maybe that was why I picked it up in hope. And yeah, it was the woman from the NHS. So she then spoke to me for an hour and a half, and she done a lot for me. She rang my doctors, she at first, and I say this now because of the UK and the way the UK is around people with mental health, right? I'm certainly in the cases that I'm seeing and my own case. I'm not going to say every case, but certainly within what I've seen is I'm finding that the NHS here, if you've got mental health, depending on the severity of it, they will try and lock you up. Yeah, in the respect, and I don't mean prison people. I mean in a mental hospital. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't people out there that need that. I certainly didn't need that. But again, the process of the NHS was like, are you in trouble now? I said, no, I'm a salesman, dude, for my background, national sales manager for multiple companies. So I know how to talk, right? So I spoke to her. I said, no, I'm fine. No, I'm not going to do that again. Okay. We carried on the conversation. She actually said to me about going to see somebody and talking to them. So I thought it was, going into a place and I was going to have a one-to-one, right? And in fact, it wasn't. When I actually went there, I walked into the room, I got in there and I walked in, there was about 20 guys sitting around the table. I'm an alpha male, dude. Yeah, so I could not go into that room, as hard as it was. I couldn't go in there and sit around and start discussing my business with all these random people I didn't know. I didn't feel comfortable, right? So honestly, I walked in and walked out. I'm not going to say that that's going to happen to everyone, but certainly with me, I felt she didn't tell me I was going to group therapy, because had she said that, I wouldn't have got. Yeah. And I kind of went there and I believe false pretense. And when I got there, I said, no, that's not for me. And I left. And I was left. I think I had 2 phone calls from the NHS afterwards for mental health. And again, I suffered PTSD, depression. So my anxiety had flared up. I didn't take the phone calls. I eventually did. I think I had one meeting the first time. The second time I missed, and then the second time I missed a phone call. Gone. That's it. No more phone calls.
Really?
Yeah. And since then, like I said, this was January this year. This all happens. By April, I was still taking substances, right? So by April, I stopped, and I don't even know how I stopped. I think it was because I previously stopped twice in my life, right? Now, I'd done substances for 20 plus years, I've been around substances for that long, since I was a kid, right? So I didn't know any different. I used them as a pain to numb pain as a kid. So it's what I knew as an adult, But there comes a point in your life where change has to happen. Whether you want it or not, change will happen, whether it's for the good or bad. In my life, obviously, it's turned out to be for the good, right? So I gave that up. And like I said, for me personally, when I gave that up, when I came out of my relationship, I didn't love myself. And I tell people all the time, you have to love yourself, people. If you don't love yourself, you can't love someone else, right? So
100%.
it was, I had to learn that again. I had to learn loving myself, and I didn't look nice. I certainly didn't feel like anyone would love me.
Can you run by how some stuff that you did to help love yourself again? And before you do that, I just want to say this, and I learned this a while back, is buy a plant and keep it alive.
Yeah.
Because that plant is not like an animal. It's not going to come up to you, hey, feed me. You know what I mean? You actually have to go and be like, hey, I got to go and water this plant or feed it or whatever, and
100%.
you have to mindfully think about this and go do it. So you're giving love to this plant. So if you can do that, you should be able to do that to yourself as well. So, and it's a little bit of a tool that I learned, to try to keep a plant alive. And if you can keep a plant alive, that means you love yourself because you're giving love as well to this plant right in your household.
Do you know what? I've never thought of that, and I'm actually going to go and buy a plant tomorrow, and I'm actually going to do that, buddy. Because even though
not a cactus, like a real plant, cactus where you have to
definitely. Yeah, no. So no, I appreciate that, buddy. It's definitely that's a new one for me. But for me personally, like I said, I didn't look good, so I had to change my looks. You know, because again, I'm looking at myself, and I'm overweight, and this is coming from somebody that, like I said, as a kid, I was very much sports orientated, right? So then when I've actually, I think I guess you get used to being with them, if that's the right word that I'm looking for. But certainly I feel like just being with her, I didn't check anything else in regards to myself. I focused so much in the end on her and what she was thinking about and trying to make her happy that I let myself go. And obviously for me, one of my big changes was going to the gym, right? Because I found when I started to go, let me tell you, when I started to go gym, right, even one of my own family members was laughing at me. Yeah, was laughing, funny enough. And and when I found out, I was like, wow, how can you be laughing at me? But you know what? Now I got the last laugh in respect to that, because I now look better than you. Yeah, I feel a lot better than you. And look what I'm now doing. So no, hold up a minute. Who's laughing now? Even though I don't laugh at the situation, it's karma a little bit, it's like because it was within family and friends that they were doing it. So it was really kind of a shock. I didn't expect, to see my own family doing that to me. So yeah, I went on this mission to go to the gym daily. And I went from pushing 13 kilo to pulling 13 kilo to then pulling over 110 kilos on the machines over a set amount of time. Don't get me wrong, people. This ain't easy. Yeah, this is dedication and hard work. And mentally, you've got to do it. Yeah, the gym doesn't come to you. You got to go to the gym. Yeah, you got to get up. You've got to be same with my whole eating. Yeah, I'd eat takeaway every single day, and maybe the odd occasion we'd have a home cooked meal or something like that. So again, when I went to the gym, my body, I couldn't eat what I was eating, right? So I had to change my diet, and I was on a lean diet, which I was on no more intake on calories than 250 calories, carbohydrates, sorry. So it was like, and again, 150 grams of protein. I was always a red meat eater. Yeah, so your lamb, your beef, that kind of type. And then I started to have to eat white meat and fish and stuff like that. And some of it, for years, I didn't eat. For years, I wouldn't even touch it. I just didn't like it. Never tasted it, but just didn't like the look of it. So yeah. And then obviously now I found myself doing that. So I put myself in a position where I had to do it. I was closed away from people, as such, and I just went straight in with the gym. Then I started to see people's, wow, you look good. Wow, look at you, Ed, and so on and so forth. That then gave me that, wow, I'm actually feeling better about myself. And now people can notice it, because you look at yourself and you won't notice,
Yeah.
And let me tell you, people, the last bit of fat that you will lose on your body will always be around your belly. So when you look down and you think, why is my belly not going down? That's the last bit that goes, people.
It's the worst, man. What's it called on the sides? Your muffin tops or whatever, the side part there? I can't get rid of it, man. I can't, bro.
No, you can. But like I said, it is the last
it's
bit,
hard.
right? So
yeah,
it's very hard. So again, when people were looking at me and seeing me, which is something that I couldn't see, then I started to feel, maybe then people might like me again, girls and so on and so forth. Because again, I'd been out, you remember, I was in a 10-year relationship, 4 months, another 18 years. So 28 years of my life, I've been in 2 relationships. And that was hard to then go back out onto the scene and go through it all again. And like I said, you can't love anyone until you love yourself. So I got to the point where I was content with my looks and my well-being, and I thought, wow, like let's move on, right? Like even then, I still wasn't looking at the mental health, And then again, I have to say this because I've mentioned my granddad, right? So my granddad, 2 weeks before I started mental health, I was talking to my mum about my granddad. Okay. Now, like I said, he was very much a father figure in my eyes. I still, to this day, I miss him dearly. But I feel it's because of him that I am where I am now, doing what I'm doing. Because the reason I say that is because 2 weeks prior to obviously me waking up and thinking, right, I'm going to go start it, I spoke about him. And 2 weeks later, I woke up in June and decided, right, we're going to do men's mental health. And I woke up, and like I said, I woke up and found out it was actually Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. So I was like, bloody hell, what a coincidence. Going round. And that was the first real inkling when I started asking people, do you know it's Men's Mental Health Month? No. Men, I'm asking men, do you know it's Men's Mental Health Month? No. And I'm thinking, wow, how many men? In fact, there was a girl that I know, she was the first person to say to me, I know it's Men's Mental Health Month. And I thought she was joking. And she wasn't until she showed me something on her phone. And I was like, wow, you actually do. So, and that was because she'd lost 4 people by unliving themselves, 4 male friends, right? So that was why she done it. And so I decided, okay, well, we're going to start talking about men's mental health, and I'm going to go on there and obviously unliving prevention. And I'm going to go on there and we're going to start. We're going to do 2 shows a week. Let's go. And then that's what I done. So I went into that. I didn't know nothing about TikTok. All I knew is my daughter was on it. And she was getting some kind of, like revenue from it. And even though that's not why I was on it, it was like, okay, and then when I looked at numbers and then see that they are the biggest platform out there, it was like, okay, so that's where I'm going to get. And I've got an opportunity now to do live streaming and touch millions of people. So why not use the best platform and in the world right now and do that? So that's why I started.
That's awesome, man.
So
I got a question. Do you remember the first time people really connected with you on there? Do you remember that? Like the big...
I think it was our second show, to be honest with you. There was a gentleman that came into the show. Again, like I said, people, I merely talk, right? When I say it, and I say it when I'm streaming, I say I'm not a professional, okay? I'm merely somebody that talks from experience. Yeah. However, with that said, when you go for a job and you have experience, who tends to get the job? Somebody with experience, right? Over somebody that doesn't. So I say to myself, for legal reasons, is I've done the practical side of things. I've lived it. I've actually lived through this. So I could tell you my story. And if I haven't got the answer to what you're going through, then I will try and help to put you into support or into somebody that can help you. So my second show, I'm pretty sure it was my second show, first or second, and this gentleman came onto our show, and he is actually from London. I'm from West London. I found out the following day he was from East London, and he was in my chat. And again, you have to take things with a pinch of salt, right, when we're on here, because there are people that unfortunately just do look for
trolls and stuff.
So he was like, listen, dude, I'm really struggling here. I've got this, I've got that, and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, look, dude, I said, look, if you inbox me, I'll speak to you. So he inboxed me. I gave him my number. And I said, look, if you need to call me, you call me, right? And I still, to this day, I am working with people. I am talking with one guy that now currently that has got BPD, that has tried to unlive himself 16 times, has been in mental health hospitals. He's currently in a men's mental health hospital on a voluntary basis because of us. Because he stayed in there, because I've asked him to jump on some stuff with me. He gets voices in his head. He's got it real hard at the moment. And it's sad to see, like I said, that he's in the NHS, and he has also been in the NHS, been struck off a mental... They've taken him out of a mental health hospital previously to this time and sent him on his way home with a bag of prescription drugs. Yeah, now that...
I'm sorry to touch on this, but that's what happened to my friend. And he ended up unaliving himself. He was in the hospital for a week, and they just let him go. And then 3 days later, I think it was 3 days later, he threw a party at his house. And everybody came to the party. I wasn't there because I was out of town. I was working out of town at the time. But everybody went to his party. And then all of a sudden, he's like, hey, everybody out. I'm going to sleep. And he kicked everybody out. And then no one heard from him for a couple of days. And his best friend showed up to a house and found him with a zap strap around his neck. And his hands were like this, holding it. And he tried to, and it's sad. And like, if they kept him in there or gave him the help that he needed, you know what I mean? He would still be here, but they just let him go. They just 100%. Let him go.
And this is with me, with the petition, right? This is why I've got this guy still with us, is because I feel he has a real big story. I actually want him, part of my logo, is a man holding a mask, okay? I want him to do this in real for me as well. I want him to be a face of some of my stuff. I want him to have purpose or feel like he has purpose because, again, he's gone through trauma in his life as a child and an adult. And yeah, and he feels like he doesn't have family. And one thing with our streamers, I tell people all the time, we are a family. Yeah, this is a family community team. It's everything, you know. And I honestly, I can show you the statistics. My chat rooms are like that. There's comments every single day. Yeah, I have one gentleman who's actually with us tonight, and he leaves the chat room, yeah, telling everyone, "I hope you have a goodbye, you beautiful people, and have a good day," you know. And it's just, and I said to him the other day, I said, "Mate, I said you say that every day, and do you know how good that is? Is because when people with mental health, sometimes we feel unloved." Yeah, we don't
Mm-hmm.
feel the love. We feel saddened, whatever it may be, because of a bereavement, because of financials, because of trauma. We feel unloved. And when, like, I mean, I've got a mobile group as well, you know, on WA, and with that, the same thing. It's like I wake up every day, and I've got people in there saying, "Good morning, mate. Good morning. How are you? You lovely people." And it's just the love that's around. I feel that is missing. So yeah, like I said, going back to the gentleman from the first show, the second show, whenever it was. So he said to me, "I can't take this no more, Ed. I can't do it. I've got to go." Nah, and I said, wait, please don't. Because again, at this point, like I said, I'm not even thinking I'm like now even talking from a kind of experience point, but I was trying to give people a heads up. And all of a sudden now I've got somebody telling me that he can't take it and he's going to go. So I said, "Please don't do that. You know, like I can't, you know, I'm not there to stop you, but it's going to sadden
Mm-hmm.
me if you do, you know, please, I'll help you where I can." Anyway, he disappeared. And I thought, Christ, and I didn't even sleep that night too well, to be brutally honest with you, because of the thought of this gentleman. And I'd only just started this stream, and I'm thinking, wow, like, is this what it's going to be like, you know? So the following day, midday, around about midday, he contacted me through the app, and I had said to him, "Look, please contact me. Let me help you. Let me try and at least seek help. I'll find you a charity. I'll find you help close to where you live. You just sit back and just stay in contact with me." So he did. He told me where he was in East London. I spoke to a local charity there. Told him that I was in talks with someone that was on TikTok, come from TikTok, and I wanted to put him in contact with them. They said, "Yeah, go ahead, put him in contact with him." A couple of days later, the gentleman came back to me and he said, "Ed, I just want to thank you and from the bottom of my heart and tell you that I love you because you saved my life." And I swear to
I just
God,
got
man,
goosebumps, bro. I just
bro,
got goosebumps, man.
and I still, even now, I've got goosebumps,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I tell you what, the feeling from that was like second to none, you know, because I never met the man, but I knew where he come from. Because, like I said, if you want to unlive yourself, people, I've been there. I've crossed that line and tried. Did I see light at the end of the tunnel? No, I didn't. For me, to like very much that's why I'm so firm on letting people know there is light out there, people. Whether you can see it or not, yeah, you just need guidance to the light, but it is there, right? Even if it's a long road down there and we turn a corner in it, you'll see the light, right? So after that is when I was like, right, this is a mission. Now we're off, you know. And we started doing it. TikTok has a thing where plays you like a little bit of like a computer game. The more you go live, you get this and you get that, and you can increase your
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden, I find myself in this kind of TikTok game, and I end up going live. And then, like I said, I didn't see all these agencies going around, and this is how I met Chaz and Notorious Agency. So so with that, I was doing what I was doing. I then approached Chaz's agency through, and again, it's going to sound funny, but do you know the Smurfs, the little blue characters?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
right. So there was a group within his agency called the Smurfs, run by a lady called Kat, and I wanted to apply, so I applied for the agency. They let me in. And so then I had, because like I said, with agencies, are a little bit more kind of help in regards to being restricted and stuff and support and so on and so forth. So I said, okay, yeah, brilliant. So they invited me in. That way, the first initial thing with me is I saw the group of Smurfs on there, which were very family orientated. Yeah, no, none of these people, most of these people didn't know each other in the flesh, but some of them do. But the majority of the group never did, right? So we've all done it through the internet. So, and we would do these things called battles, and and I just see this whole teams, like 40 odd people turning out every time, and I was like, wow, like, this is real, like. And because of what I was doing, I got so much love. There was a lady, I'm gonna big her up as well, actually, Tanya.
Please do, man. Please
Yeah,
do.
Tanya. We call her Tatty Tanya on here. And she was the lady that got me into Smurfs. I battled her on my own. I was a solo creator. And I went into a battle with her and we won. And she had like 3,000 odd people on her, on her profile. I had about 100 people. So I was nobody. And we won this. And she because of what I was doing and raising for charity, she's like to her group, look, guys, go over there, follow there. And I got the love straight away. So because I got that love straight away, I then started to think about the agencies and I went back to Tanya. Tanya was the one that got me into the Smurfs, which was part of the Notorious group. And yeah, so I went from there with them and I carried on my mission, like I said, when I then started streaming under the agency, I came across, like I started to be getting issues, like with restrictions and stuff like that. And my manager, fair play to her, Cat, she was all over it. If you've got an issue, you had to go to your manager. I went to her, she'd be on it. And I was like, wow, like I'm over here, she's over there, and she's doing this for me. And she was getting me straight back on. Yeah. And I was like, wow, this is brilliant. And like I said, I set out on my mission. Then in July is when I started talking about a petition. Yeah. So I'm just talking about this mental health. But what are we going to do? What's the end goal, right? We can all sit here and talk and make an awareness, but over here in the UK, I feel the system's failing. I don't feel the system is what is in place. It's an outdated system. So I don't feel, and it needs looking at. And statistically here, if you go onto the gov.uk website, the statistics are alarming around unlivings. Yeah. So to give you an example, in 2023 to 2024 August, there were 5,656 cases of just men unliving themselves, or people unliving themselves, sorry. Out of that 5,656, 4,098 of them were men. So it's a 74.3%. Yeah. And I see that and I'm thinking, whoa. The rates of women had halved since 1982 till 2023, half from 10.4 to 5.2. The women are a lot more stronger than us, it seems. Right? So why have we got a massive rate of men unliving themselves? And again, like I said, the stigma around men speaking out, right? You talk about construction, you come from construction. Now over here in the UK, we call it blue collar workers. They are the most prone to unliving themselves in this country because again, they're hard guys, right? We don't talk, we just get on with it. They get up, they go to work, they do a hard graft job, they come home, look after their families, go to bed. They don't really have time. I'm going to say they don't really have time to talk.
That was my life, brother. That was my life. I lived that. I was depressed, but I still got up every day because I had to. Yep. I just got crazy goosebumps, man. That's so true.
That's my point. And again, big up Steve Whittle, who's I'm co-hosting the show with tomorrow. It's like and until I met him, I was very much behind. There's no help out there. Yeah, guys, we need to change it. There's no help. Well, in fact, there is help out there. It's just men don't know that there's help out there because it's not widely spoken about, especially here in the UK. So, like I said, in July, I started this petition, started going on about a petition. Steve was a gentleman that came to me. He's been 20 years doing what he's doing. He goes into FTSE index companies and looks at the policies within them companies. And I'm talking major companies and how they on their policies around their employees. Yeah. And what do they do to see the awareness around unliving and so forth. So his role is phenomenal for us in the UK. And I'm just, again, blessed like I am with you, Erick, to have crossed paths with him. Because even though he is doing male prevention, male unliving prevention, I am, but my thing is mental health, right? But ultimately, my goal is to save lives. Put something in place so people don't have to unlive themselves. What's his end goal? To save lives. The only difference is mine is at the later part. So when a man has effectively tried to unlive himself or he's at that brink, that he knows that there's this place here. What Steve is trying to do is Steve is trying to get it halfway down. So before it gets to the point of trying to unlive themselves, or feel like they can't go anymore. So he's starting down here, which is fantastic. So again, if he can pick anybody up down here, then God bless to him, and well done. But certainly, so I looked at like I said, the system, and I come up with a solution. And again, guys, let me tell you, I never thought, how am I going to do this? What research have I done to come up with this plan? Yeah, I never done nothing. I believe it's destiny, Eric. Just like me and you crossing paths, and me and him crossing paths. I truly believe that the whole what we're doing is this is why we've got to this point. So Steve, I was talking about changing the mental health. Now, here in the UK, like I said, if you ring the NHS and you say to them, or somebody rings for you, but you speak to them and you say, like I'm feeling like I'm living myself, they'll say, no, where are you? Blah, blah, blah. The first thing they want to do is potentially put you in a mental health hospital, right? For your own safety. Now, again, my problem with that, is you're containing the problem. You're not fixing the problem. You're containing it, and trying to put them in because of their safety. So again, like I said, salesmen come out and me, no, I'm fine. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. I told them what they wanted to hear. So that
because you don't want to be in that situation, right? Yeah,
right.
definitely.
So I told them what they wanted to hear. The next questions were, are you a threat to anybody else? Yeah, so they were still looking to contain me and not help me. No, I'm fine. That's when she then sent me, after an hour and a half, then sent me to go to group therapy and so on and so forth, which I didn't know. So then when I came away from that, I said, wow, because after that point, I'd missed my mental health appointment. I'd missed the phone call because of my anxiety. And that was it, written off. I didn't hear no more. Started doing TikTok and I thought, right, obviously this petition, what are we going to do? And I promise you, I was talking about the petition, or setting up a petition on housing all the mental health services under one roof. The reason I want to do this, and I want to make it a situation where it is down to you and me, to make that phone call, right? And to chase up. Now, a bit like your doctors, when you make a phone call to your doctor, you book an appointment, you go into them, and you go and see them, and then so on and so forth with them. And I have a question around doctors. And again, I can't wait to get a doctor on my show to ask the question to them. And that's to do with antidepressants. I don't believe doctors should be prescribing antidepressants because they're to numb the pain.
It's just a Band-Aid.
Yeah, and here in the UK, a doctor is a general practitioner. That is not a psychiatric doctor or nurse, mental health nurse. So why are they prescribing things to numb the pain rather than putting you in a direction of someone that should be able to give you what you need or know what to give you? Now, I'm not saying that all doctors don't know it. I don't know. But it's a question that I am yet to ask a doctor, and I can't wait to do so.
Well, that in that case, if you're a doctor, leave a comment in this, please, or reach out, because we would love to know, and we can, we'd love to figure this out. So please, if you're a doctor or know anything, leave a comment in the video, please.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, like I said, so I set out on this mission to house it all under one roof. And again, because I was a sales manager, right? So I come from a sales background, and my background is tool hire. So, your tools on construction sites, your diggers, your drills, your hoists, all that kind of stuff. I've hired all of that. Some of the stuff that we used to hire was a thing called modular buildings, right? So modular buildings, if you don't know what they are, those. There we go. So even better, Eric, right? So you can explain. So here in the UK, the way that I'm proposing to do it is there are companies that will take out a machine or a drill, and they would take it on a long-term hire. Yeah, a year's hire or 2 years hire. And the reason for that is they then pay a very cheap rate because it is a long-term hire. Yeah, the companies still get what they want for the machine, or at least get the money back for the machine. So it would always cover the machine plus a little, but ultimately they don't pay the wallet price every week. Yeah.
Or they could buy it out too. Usually sometimes they'll buy it out at the end of the job too, right? There's that as well.
Exactly that. Now with the modular buildings, I want the same same process. Now, again, whether it would be the government that hires these buildings, or if the government, which I think is going to put it down to the councils and boroughs, like the areas that control their councils to control this, it'll be within their budgets. Okay. So now, just say, for instance, because like I said, I want all mental health under. So now, just say, for instance, easy way to put this is just say you've got a house, right? That house has 4 rooms. So in there, you've got mental health down the bottom, you've got counselling, you've got substance and alcohol misuse, and then you've got probation services. Because again, crime is very much a part of this as well, right? So you've got all of these in one house. Now you go into mental health, and they say, "Oh, like, you're okay, Mr. Hancock, you just need counselling." Yeah, just say hypothetically. It's okay. Now I go upstairs and I make an appointment with them, and I go into them. The biggest thing about this is I'm going to go in and I'm going to see faces. People that have gone through trauma, like childhood trauma, physical trauma, and other kinds of traumas. Talking about these experiences are quite traumatic, yeah, and they are hard to keep doing it. And again, repeating yourself, reliving these things is a major thing, I think. So if we can eliminate that, which is another part of my proposal with the petition, then that's got to help, right? So like I said, and again, you make this phone call, Eric, you make this phone call to this mental health unit, center, whatever you want to call it, house, and you go and start your process with them. It's easily accessible for you. You're not having to wait for callbacks. Just like your doctors, we haven't got these 9 months waiting. Every council would have them. And like I said, every council would house these, however many units they want to have. These units, as you will know, Eric, can be built upon and built on each other and designed in a way that, however they need to be designed, right? And put into a place. And now
bathrooms, you can put everything in there, man. You name it. Yeah.
So now when you then talk about infrastructure to these buildings, like we're not talking about putting £1 million building up. We're talking about putting modular buildings in place, which are on a fixed term hire rate, which are a low rate. Yeah, the good thing with this is from the government's point of view, because again, money is going to be a subject when we get there. Again, these are not £1 million units. These are long-term hire. Who's going to pay for them? Each borough would pay for them, right? And you house everything in there, and you put it in a voluntary state, as people can go and access that help themselves without having to wait for you. Speeds the process up. Yeah. So in regards to infrastructure, we're talking about from a main road, yeah, and then you've got all your houses here on this side. Your main road's here, or main road's in the middle. These are your rows of houses. So on this side, we have a derelict house, yeah, or derelict bit of land. Like every house will have a power point going from it, from the mains, yeah, water and electrics from the mains there. So you're talking like minimal work from the mains of every access point to where they want to put these buildings into there, putting the power in there. The buildings are then put up, and then there you go. Bob's your uncle, you've got power and water, and they're now working facilities. Then they built inside to house what they're going to house. So we're talking about mental health, right? So do I need to have 100 machines in there for mental health? No, I don't. But there will be machines in there in certain parts of it, but we're not talking multi-million pounds of stuff needing to be inputted into what I'm asking for. And again, like
just
I said,
the simple stuff that you need, like not
your desk, the
computer,
and all the kind of simple stuff.
And just the person there with the right skills to help the person go through whatever 100%. They're going through.
And then look at it like this. So now we're creating jobs as well, right? Yeah, because they say we don't have enough jobs here in mental health and stuff like that. So okay, now we've opened all these centres. We are taking a chunk of the waiting list off of the NHS, and we're putting it into places where now people, it's still part of the NHS, but it's just separated from the hospitals. And now all of a sudden, you've got these places taking the strain off our NHS, which is our National Health Service, because over here, you don't pay for your health, right? So in other countries, okay. So, but in some countries you do, right? So, it can be start to get very pricey with mental health. How long does mental health take? Ages.
Forever, pretty much. You know what I mean? You're always working on yourself.
You can't put a time on it, right? So in that case, all of a sudden, if that was the case, So, like I said, putting these places in place for and making them voluntary and accessible for us to go and do, and then it's off our own backs to go to these places and seek the help, just like you would your doctors. The other part of my proposal is to now we have a load of charities, right? I'm actually doing a lot with suicide, unliving prevention UK, or they call
It's all good, man. I break the rules all the time. Don't worry
I
about
do
it, brother.
apologize, people. But again, in respect to them, they're doing a fantastic job. And it was only when I started speaking to them and I was telling them what I was trying to do, and I said to them, "What about like you and the NHS? How does it work?" And they was explaining to me, "Oh, well, we get taken off, like." In some cases within the mental health services in the NHS, they will say there's no more we can do for you, and they would then outsource you to a charity, which, bearing in mind, people, these are funded charities, yeah, so they need kind of help given the fact that they are being funded from outside sources and not government funded, so they need a lot of help. And I feel that we are wasting a lot of their time because they haven't got the right information. They haven't got the right toolkit. Now, to give an example, one of the things I want to create is a database. Yeah, now the NHS and these charities, every charity here in the UK has some information between them, okay? But there seems to be very limited information, right? So now what I'm trying to do is, say for instance, you're in Scotland and you're in a domestic violence relationship, right? But you're talking to, just say, a charity called Samaritans over there. So you're talking to them within 24 hours, because you're in domestic violence, you can be moved from living in Scotland to living in London, in England, right? So all of a sudden, you're now living in a different country, still part of the United Kingdom, but you're living down here in London. You don't know no one, you don't know no charity. Everything you've known is in Scotland. But you've been talking to the Samaritans. The Samaritans have been noting down what they've been doing with you about your mental health and so on and so forth, or whatever it be, domestic violence, wherever it is. So they then, because they're inputting that onto a system, you now are in London 24, not even 24 hours after you've just been moved. You now go to a charity in London, or in, any Wales, any part of the United Kingdom, and you say, "Hi, my name's Ed. I've come from a domestic violence relationship. I'm working with the Samaritans. I used to live in Scotland," or wherever you used to live. And you tell them you've been working with a charity. They would say, "Oh, found you. Got the information that the Samaritans have been doing with you now," right? So now all of a sudden, they can pick up from where they left off. No fault of your own. Within 24 hours, they can now start to give you the support. What else does it do? It takes away having to explain yourself. We talk about people in traumatic incidents in their life, or physical and whatever else. So again, repeating the cycle and reliving it is traumatic, right? So again, I'm not saying that you won't need to kind of give them a little bit of an insight, but you might get asked a couple of questions because of a doctor or somebody to the charity that doesn't know your circumstances, and they want to know a little bit more about, because they're putting you into the right avenue of help. Then you might get asked that, right? But ultimately, they will have some sort of kind of like portfolio of you from what you've been doing, and they can carry on. So I think it's a massive, massive game changer again for people in the UK, and with that, like, with finding that kind of stuff out,
I think it's a
And,
great idea, man. And I
appreciate
hope
it, brother.
that anybody that's listening, all over the world, 58 countries, if you got any
Appreciate it.
insights or like can help, leave a comment, reach out, hit my email, rawmindspodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah.
I'll get to Ed, or Ed, I don't know if you want to put your email there, but either way, you know what? I'll get it to you if someone reaches out. I mean, let's see if this, like, if you guys think that this can work and got some great ideas to put in to like make this work, I encourage you to reach out to me, leave a comment, email me, and let's make this happen.
It. And the other thing as well, I just want to quickly add to that, is like I said, now the whole point of modular buildings is these could be put up and collapsed, right?
Mhm.
Again, I want to propose this system to the government. They can put it in place, and they could trial it, just see if it's going to work. If there's a change in what I'm doing, and if it doesn't work, then what can they do? They could collapse it down and go back to what they know, which isn't working anyway either, might I add. So,
Yeah.
so like, you know, but at least we've given it the try, and given the people of this country and our generations after us, right? Because like I said, I feel that I've gone through the system. I got struck off because I didn't attend an appointment and I missed a phone call. Yeah, but I've got
And
mental
they
health
should have
problems.
they should have keep on trying, because who knows, man? What if you unalived yourself? You know, like, why are they following up, making sure? You know, that just sickens me, man.
And this is the problem, you know, and I don't, like I said, the whole point with the stream is so eventually I will have a stream full of professionals that are fully engaging around men's mental health, talking about it. And not just men, that we are talking about mental health for the women as well. But it's just statistically, men are a lot more prone to unliving themselves. And I just feel like, you know, we need to try and stop that.
And you're a
give
man
them
and you
some-
relate to men, so why not,
100%.
right? At the same time. But
100%.
like you said, like, mental health, we all struggle. Male, female, it doesn't matter. You know, we all struggle for it, you know,
Yeah,
and we all got to come together at
100%.
the end of the day, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Ed, but it's getting to that time there.
Yep.
I just want to say, first off, man, I appreciate you so much, dude. I
Thank
can't.
you.
I'm so happy that I just, like, you know, fell upon your TikTok live, and
Same here, my
you know what
brother.
I
Same
mean?
here. We've got a lot more to go through over the course of time, bro.
Definitely.
sure we have.
You better be coming back on, man. Like, you better be coming back
100%.
on, brother.
Most definitely. And same with us as well, dude. We're going to get you on with us as well because, like I said, we've got people here that I believe, again, networking is a big thing. And I appreciate you bringing me onto your show and getting my story out to people, as well as obviously vice versa, right? So swings and roundabouts, my man. So big love
Appreciate
to you
you,
every
brother.
time.
Well, can you plug your TikTok one more time, man, so everybody
Yeah,
can
so
head up?
right, so my @name is @EdwardHancock82. So that's EdwardHancock82, and you'll find me there. And again, yeah, like I said, I just appreciate everything that you've done with us, gut dude. So big love to you, Eric. And yeah,
Thank you, man.
with the life coaching stuff and everything like that. God bless you, man.
Appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Definitely.
And I just, for everybody there, I can't believe I forgot to do this, but here is the link for the GoFundMe down there, but it will be in the description as well again. But I totally forgot. I set that up for a reason. And I totally forgot to do it at the start, but it's there. So
You know, I
it'll be in the
appreciate that.
description.
I
Well,
appreciate it, buddy.
I just want to say, man, we're going to keep on going here.
Yeah, we'll catch up.
Let me know when you do finish that, what you think of my my little book there.
Guys, that's another thing, Eric. Yeah, I have
You
to
can
say
touch
this,
on it a
right?
little bit. You
I
can
wanna
touch
quickly,
on it,
I
brother.
want to touch on it quickly.
for
Yeah,
it.
only give me
Yeah,
2
yeah,
minutes, right? And Eric, I think you're an amazing man. Yeah, I come across you like you come to me, you come across me. And then obviously after speaking with you, you showed me, like, I promise you now, your story is so telling and so touching that I believe in what you're going to do, what you're doing. And I need people, I want people, reassure people you need to listen to this man's music and listen to his wording of his book, and what he's going to do when that comes out, because it is so touching, bro. And it's very relatable. And for me anyway, like, even just like that, I'm just feeling it now, dude. So yeah, utmost respect for you, my man, honestly.
man.
And I'll plug it every time as well.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. And so if you guys are listening, usually at the end of the show, I play my normal music, but I'm gonna play the song that I made for us for this episode. So the outro is going to be a little bit longer, but I mean, it's the full song. I think it's a great song, you know. So it won't be playing now, but when this is dropped, people will be able to hear it.
Yep.
So check that out. Like Ed said, I do have a book coming out on my life, and it's 18 chapters, but I'm going to add a little bit more to it. That was like kind of the rough draft. I'm still working on it. And then I do have an album, a men's mental health album coming out soon. I keep on trying to do it, but I keep on getting pushed back. I can drop podcasts like no problem, but Spotify music's it's a whole new world for me, right? So I'm learning how to do it. So bear with me, but there's going to be good. It's called Scars Don't Lie. And then look out for the legacy method, man. It's going to be coming out, you know? So my life coaching. So that'll be good too. So I'll have some programs coming out, and it'll eventually be like a 12-week program, you know, and I'll be very involved with you know, with my people that want the help. So
Definitely, my man.
well, on that note, brother, thank you again. I really appreciate you coming on here, man, and
Yeah, I appreciate
and
it too. Thank you.
we'll see you soon. Definitely back on here, I hope. So
No problem, buddy. No problem. All right.
all right, well, that's it. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next one. Bye.
Take care. See you later.
Yeah. Season 2, episode 56, let's ride. Head on the mic, pain, he ain't gotta hide. Men's mental health scars deep in the chest. World tells us shut up, but silence don't blast. And we've been fighting demons, drowning in the night. Trying to be strong, but it don't feel right. They're bringing true voice, heavy with the pain. Raw minds lit the fire, now it's breaking through the chains. Man, don't cry, that's a fucking lie. We bleed, we break, but we still survive. They got a story, he gon' testify. Raw minds stand tall, scars don't lie. Podcast live from the west to the world. Every scar's a chapter, every truth gets unfurled. Talking about the struggle that we keep on the low. Bottles, pills, rage. Yeah, we already know, but that's standing strong. Microphone in his hand, breaking down walls, letting brothers understand it ain't weakness, nah, it's courage to speak when the pain cuts deep. You're the real one, see. Man, don't cry, that's a fucking lie. We bleed, we break, but we still survive. They got a story, he gon' testify. Raw minds stand tall, scars don't lie. They told us hide the pain. They told us be tough, but silence kills quicker than the bullets and the drugs. We changing that tonight. Episode 56, you gon' feel this. Man, don't cry, that's a f***ing lie. We bleed, we break, but we still survive. Yeah, got a story, he gon' testify. Raw minds stand tall, scars don't lie. Scars don't lie, but they prove we're still alive.